National Day in Vietnam, Tankie times number 39. It was National Day in Vietnam. In this issue, the USA Navy is in dire conditions. Ukrainians massively fleeing camps in Germany. Delcy Rodriguez promotes housing construction. Laos, Cuba, Vietnam, China, and DPRK news. Islamic Unity Conference opens in Tehran. The 40th International Conference on Islamic Unity kicks off in Tehran with a focus on the martyred leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei's vision for strengthening unity across the Muslim world. The conference opened on Thursday with the participation of Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and hundreds of Muslim scholars and thinkers from some 40 countries. No need to should. This is the news that you can interact with. Nearly 400, well, maybe not on Twitch at the moment, but we love Twitch. Nearly 400 domestic and foreign guests, including prominent academic, cultural, and religious figures from Muslim countries, including Iraq, Pakistan, Turkey, Lebanon, Afghanistan, the Persian Gulf states, as well as a number of ambassadors based in Tehran, attended the opening ceremony. The event is being held under the theme Islamic Unity in the thought of the martyred Imam Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Hosseini Khamenei. And it seeks to create unity and cohesion among Muslims, promote synergy among religious scholars and thinkers, and help bridge scientific and cultural perspectives across the Muslim world. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has proposed a mutual security and non-aggression pact among Muslim countries to safeguard regional security amid U.S.-Israeli acts of aggression. Pezeshkian made the remarks on Thursday in an address to the 40th International Congress of Islamic Unity that kicked off in Tehran, where he outlined 3 proposals for strengthening unity among Islamic nations. The first proposal is the Mutual Security and Non-Aggression Pact among Muslim countries, under which they commit to respecting one another's territorial integrity, he said. They should not allow their territory, airspace, or facilities to be used to attack another Muslim country. They should not support efforts to divide or destabilize one another, nor define their own security at the cost of other security. Instead, they should work together to manage regional security. The Iranian chief executive also clarified that his offer does not mean the formation of a military alliance or the adoption of the same foreign policy among Islamic states. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, he added, should be able to intervene before disputes escalate into war, rather than simply issue statements after thousands of people are killed. Press TV. Oh, yes, here's an excerpt from a piece that I want to share. Series of ship incidents, supply failures, and falling troop morale stretch the Navy to its limits. Uh-oh. How terrible. The U.S.-Israeli war of aggression, launched in late February against the Islamic Republic of Iran, was supposed to showcase the unchallenged dominance of the United States Navy. Instead, it became a case study in strategic overreach, exposing a naval fleet that is steadily being worn down by a resilient opponent, overstretched supply lines, and a crisis morale that its command structure appears increasingly desperate to conceal. The cumulative toll of naval accidents, they say, logistical failures, media suppression, and declining portrait of a superpower, struggling to preserve its naval supremacy in the face of a determined Iran that was subjected to the unprovoked and illegal aggression. From the very outset of the war, the aggression, which came amidst indirect diplomacy mediated by Oman, the United States has demonstrated a conspicuous and operationally significant reluctance to bring its most powerful Navy assets close to the Iranian coastline. Called out. This was not simply a matter of strategic preference, but a direct consequence of Iran's demonstrated anti access and area denial capabilities, which have fundamentally altered the calculus of American hostile naval operations in the region. Rather than risk its capital ships in the confined waters of the Persian Gulf, the United States limited its naval offensive to striking targets in southern Iran from standoff distances, operating primarily in the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman, where its vessels have greater room to maneuver against incoming missiles and drones. American military planners and commanders are acutely aware that the shallow waters of the Persian Gulf and the narrow approaches of the Strait of Hormuz present a uniquely hazardous environment for their destroyers and aircraft carriers. Iran's military has repeatedly demonstrated its ability to field a complex layered threat network comprising shore-based anti-ship cruise missiles, coordinated swarms of fast attack craft, what Trump calls the wise guy boats. The little wise guy boats. And advanced unmanned aerial vehicles capable of precision strikes. Rather than challenge this defensive umbrella directly, American warships, including the USS Abraham Lincoln, have remained well beyond the horizon, launching airstrikes from the Arabian Sea instead of closing the distance to secure a more effective operational positioning. Iranian naval commanders have described this as a successful strategy for denying the US fleet access to the Gulf of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz through the integrated use of missiles and drones. Iranian naval forces have successfully intercepted and pushed back American naval assets, compelling them to retreat as far back as 400 kilometers from the strategic choke point. Press TV. In other words, you sunk my battleship, is what US is saying. Some Russian news for you today. 2 pages today. We got Army General comments on Russia's unabated offensive. Chief of Russia's General Staff Army, General Valery Gerasimov, has inspected the progress of combat missions by Battle Group South, received a commander's report of the commented progress of the liberation of the Donetsk People's Republic, and the Russian Defense Ministry revealed. Kiev's main strategic objective is to maintain control over the remaining part of Donbass, and the Ukrainian army has created a defense in depth, of Gerasimov said. Despite this, he continued, Russian forces have broken through the first defensive line of the enemy stronghold in Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. Russia's success. Russian forces are advancing in all directions of the special military operation, with the pace of the offensive showing no signs of slowing. Quote, battle groups continue carrying out their tasks as part of the special military operation. The offensive is proceeding at the undiminished pace in all directions. In July and August, assault units of the Battle Group South liberated Prishkinova and Prishmievka in Oreshkotov in DPR, he reported. The frontline situation. Russian troops continue operations in urban neighborhoods of Alexeyeva Dreskova, according to Gerasimov. Street fighting to liberate Kritovka and Vrelbovka. Units of the Third Army continued their offensive on the battle group's right flank as part of the border advance towards Slavyansk. Russian assault units have approached Dreskova and are currently at a distance of 1.5 kilometers from the city. Over the past 2 months, an area of more than 100 square kilometers of land had been liberated in the Droskovka sector of the line of engagement, according to Gerasimov. Kiev's lines. The Kiev regime is trying to convince the West of its success on the battlefield, despite a lack of real results. In the absence of any tangible results on the ground, the Ukrainian leadership is trying to convince its Western backers of the success of the Ukrainian military on the battlefield. Therefore, as part of its propaganda campaign, it's spreading false information about allegedly successful operations in the Zaporozhye region, Gerasimov said, which, as we know, is where there's a nuclear power plant which they've been hitting with drones. Gerasimov described maintaining control over the remaining part of Donbass as the Kiev regime's main strategic objective at present. At present, the Kiev regime's main strategic objective is to maintain control of the remaining part of Donbass. To this end, the enemy has established and is constantly improving multi-layered defenses in the Severodonetsk area, relying on elevated urban infrastructure and industrial zones in the larger settlements of Slavyansk and Krymsk, as well as Druskovka, which are interconnected by a well-developed transport infrastructure and a system of fortifications, he concluded. TASS. Twitch is completely down? I mean, nothing I can do about it. Some people are saying Twitch is working, some people are saying it's not. I can't fix Twitch. Ukrainian forces strike dry spent nuclear. Speaking of the region, they said that they were saying they have control over. Ukrainian forces strike dry spent nuclear fuel storage facility and the Zaporozhye NPP. Once again, a drone operated by Ukrainian armed forces has attacked a dry spent nuclear storage facility at the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, ZNPP. The plant reported on its Max channel. No environmental damage was recorded as a result of the attack, and radiation levels at the plant's site and in the surrounding areas are normal. It must be emphasized, however, that an attack on spent nuclear fuel storage facilities is an extremely dangerous and unacceptable act, the consequences of which, in the event of damage to the facility's infrastructure, could be severe. Any impact on the systems and structures ensuring the safe storage of spent nuclear fuel poses a potential threat to nuclear and radiation safety, the statement reads. Yeah, some people on the East Coast, it seems to be working okay. Ukrainians massively fleeing training camps in Germany. Who could have seen that coming? Ukrainian conscripts are fleeing training camps in Germany in large numbers, making it clear that they do not wish to fight for so-called European values. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova told reporters, quote, Ukrainians who find themselves in the heart of Europe are fleeing these very training camps, just as they fled from concentration camps. This is a remarkable twist of history for those who are unaware of it, the diplomat said, emphasizing that this is not an isolated incident, but a trend. TASS. Go figure. They don't want to be kidnapped and forced to go into battle on a front line of a unwinnable war? That does sound like some other event in history, doesn't it? Russia destroys Ukrainians' infrastructure capable of producing Scalp missiles. Oh yes, this is Dave Legend's favorite missiles. Storm Shadow missiles. Dave loves these missiles. Next time Dave streams, ask Dave about the Storm Shadow missiles. Ukraine will not be able to launch production of Storm Shadow Scalp French long-range missiles due to a lack of necessary infrastructure, which was destroyed by strikes from the Russian armed forces. chairman of the Presidium of the All-Russian Organization Officers of Russia, hero of Russia Major General Sergei Liprov, told TASS. Quote, Scout missiles require a serious approach. There he is, Dave. I like how mentioning Storm Shadow missiles actually summoned Dave into the chat. Good to see you. Long range missiles due to the lack of necessary, which were destroyed by the Russian armed forces. But there we go. Scout missiles require a serious approach, which the Kiev regime currently lacks for one simple reason. All technological supply chains they previously had have been destroyed by our forces' systematic strikes. Sounds like a missile from Azov or like a fictional missile. I was thinking Green Eggs and Hammer, comrade in chat. I gotta start addressing it like that when I'm doing YouTube content. It reminds me of like something from what's that game? The spy game. You know. You know the one. It reminds me of something from that game. No, not I Spy. The video game, the famous video game by Hideo Kojima. Why can't I think of the fucking name of it now? Spy versus Spy. No, it sounds like something from that game. Metal Gear Solid. That's it. Thank you. Jesus Christ Almighty. I gotta slow down on the weed here. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. It sounds like something from Metal Gear Solid. We're gonna launch the Storm Shadow missiles, and there's nothing Solid Snake can do to stop us. Or something, you know? Scout missiles. Liprov noted that even if Kiev manages to assemble them somewhere using available components, it is not given that these missiles will be fully controllable. Such missiles, as a rule, often go out of control if manufacturing procedures are violated, and continue flying wherever they please, landing, for example, in the territory of neighboring states. Earlier, British Prime Minister Andy Burnham announced that his government had agreed to allow the defense company MBDA to transfer to Kiev classified data on British components for the Scalp long-range missile, the French version of the British Storm Shadow, an air-launched cruise missile equipped with subsonic turbojet engine, an infrared homing system, and an onboard processor with GPS. It is capable of flying at extremely low altitudes, 30 to 40 meters. TASS. Good old Britain. Next up, we got Delcy Rodriguez promulgated housing construction, promotion, and protection law. This is from Telesur. The new legal instrument, signed on August 25th at the camp sent up in the Karkaras Polyhedron, will promote the construction of more homes by eliminating obstacles and complexities, thus ensuring greater availability and access to housing for Venezuelan people. Quote, this law seeks to promote building more homes, to remove any kind of obstacle, limitation, difficulty, complexity, and so we can guarantee even greater availability of housing for access by the Venezuelan people. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez affirmed during the visit to the temporary camp for earthquake victims. Rodriguez also highlighted the role of private capital. This law will allow greater flow of private investment for housing construction, added to the effort the state is making, as the President of the National Assembly said, to build new homes, she stated. The National Assembly approved the bill last Friday to encourage the construction of new homes and to protect both builders and buyers. The legal text contains 40 articles. regulating contracts, sales, responsibilities, and the oversight functions of the Ministry and of Housing and Habitat. Construction companies will be required to create trust fund and spell out in their contracts the execution schedule and the characteristics of the properties. The law establishes sanctions for non-compliance, delays in documents, and permitting failures, contempt, or violations of preventative measures. Fines range from the equivalent of 300 to 54,000 times the highest value currency, according to the exchange rate of the day. The measures arrived 2 months after the two earthquakes shook Venezuela. On June 24th, tremors of magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 left thousands of families without shelter. On July 14th, the President of the National Assembly estimated that 25,000 homes were needed for the victims. Rodriguez ratified in July her commitment to monthly deliveries, with a goal of 4,000 completed homes by December. Acting President reported more than 61,000 inspections of buildings to assess damage from the earthquakes and said 11,000 of those structures present a high risk. In the same event, National Assembly President Jorge Rodriguez noted that 3,000 new homes are being built in Catia la Mar and the locality of Liguria, the Liguria state that was most affected by the seismic doublet. At the polyhedron camp, Acting President Delcy Rodriguez and her government team reviewed the essential services offered to those sheltered there. The facilities include medical clinics, psychological support, occupational therapy, and a common dining room with a capacity for 300 people, Telesur reports. And thank you, Lainey, for bringing this story across our desk from Telesur, highlighting the ongoing revolutionary struggle in Venezuela. Not only are they committed to getting everything recovered, but you can see them increasing pressure on private sector as well here. Increasing that control of it to make sure that it serves the benefits of the people. And now that brings us to the headlines from the socialist countries. Again, when we come to this section, we all understand we mean the OGs that have inspired all the other revolutionary movements. First, Cuba. Diaz-Canel met with representatives of the Cuban private sector. President Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez met with representatives of the private sector in Cuba. Contact that, he explained, will be consistent with the Cuban business system, which is a single entity encompassing both the state and non-state entities. We cannot build everything we want to do for the benefit of the country if we do not achieve this communication, he said during the meeting, which included business people from the food, agricultural, energy and transport, legal, and other sectors. The head of state advocated for increasing the country's production of food, goods, and services, reducing unproductive costs and dependence on imports of finished products, and incorporating technology, knowledge, and innovation.
Juche is what's happening on this planet, y'all.
From Lao, the Lao Youth League. The Lao youth take center stage, just in general, the whole Lao youth, rather. The Lao Youth Union, LYU, in partnership with the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, held an event to commemorate International Youth Day 2026. Under the theme, Different Contexts, Common Aspirations, the event also reviewed the outcomes of 2024 ASEAN Youth Dialogue, held in Luang Prabang Province, and provided an update on progress in implementing the Youth and Adolescent Development Strategy 2021-2030. An educational exhibition featuring booths from youth-led organizations, government agencies, development partners, educational institutions, civil society organizations, and private sector entities was also held. The exhibition provided opportunities to exchange information, learn about available services, explore new initiatives, and exchange youth led ideas and solutions. The event highlighted the important role of Lao adolescents and youth as leaders, innovators, community developers, climate action advocates, and entrepreneurs. The LYU, UNFPA, and their partners will continue working with young people to expand inclusive opportunities and ensure that youth are recognized as beneficiaries, partners, and leaders in national development. W. the Lao Youth. You love to see it. Vietnam, our cover story today. Hanoi streets transformed to celebrate National Day. On the days leading up to the 81st anniversary of the National Day, September 2nd, 1945, 2000, and now 2026, Hanoi is adorned with vibrant, multi-sized billboards, posters, and banners, national flags with red backgrounds, and yellow star flutter across the city, fostering an atmosphere of excitement and pride among the capital's residents. Notably large and extra-large billboards depicting President Ho Chi Minh reading the Declaration of Independence at Ba Dinh Square on September 2nd, 1945, have been prominently displayed along major thoroughfares, highlighting the sacred significance of this monumentous historical milestone. From central streets to residential neighborhoods, party and national flags were displayed in unison, fluttering brilliantly to express the pride and patriotism. These displays inspire the younger generation with faith, aspiration, and a sense of responsibility to carry on their forefathers' legacy, contributing to the development of a civilized, modern Hanoi and the nation's continued progress. Hell yeah. Hell yes. A W's for Vietnam in chat, please.
Miền biển xa, người đi khắp phương trời. Ở nơi xa đó, người dân đói nghèo. Từ đau thương người đi khắp năm châu lòng tin mặt trời chân lý sáng soi. Dõi chiếu sáng dân mình, Hồ Chí Minh, Hồ Chí Minh, Hồ Chí Minh. Vượt trùng sông, người đi khắp phương trời, luyện tôi ý chí, lòng núi căm hờn. Hồ Chí Minh, người đi khắp năm châu lòng tin mặt trời chân lý sáng soi, dọi chiếu sáng dân mình. Hồ Chí Minh, Hồ Chí Minh, Hồ Chí Minh, Hồ Chí Minh.
Lady can chat but can't see any chats.
Miền biển xa, người
Quite the
đi
day on Twitch today.
ở nơi xa đó, người dân đói nghèo từ đâu
I'll just have to ignore my numbers today, I guess.
nằm châu lòng tin mặt trời chân lý sáng
Well,
soi
if you feel like supporting me,
chiếu sáng dân mình
consider subbing.
Hồ Chí Minh Hồ Chí Minh Hồ Chí Minh vượt trùng sông người đi khắp phương
You
trời
can support me on any of the sites that I stream on. Consider subbing, gift subbing. It all goes a long way.
nằm châu lòng tin mặt trời chân lý sáng soi soi chiếu sáng dân mình Hồ Chí Minh
Yeah, it can be a pain in the ass over there to get started. If you like what I do, whether you're watching me on the green or the purple, please consider supporting the stream, gifting a sub, subbing yourself, using your Prime if you're on the purple. Also, direct donos, Ko-Fi or PayPal go an extremely long way right now. Shit's extra tight. Please consider. Hell yeah. From China, China steps up rescue relief efforts after mudslide hits Xinjiang's Jirang. China has launched a national emergency response after a mudslide caused casualties and left people missing in Zhejiang County, southwest China's Xinjiang Autonomous Region, the Ministry of Emergency Management said on Wednesday. The Ministry of Emergency Management immediately dispatched a working team to assist rescue efforts and sent 249 firefighters from National Comprehensive Fire and Rescue Teams, along with 325 personnel from engineering rescue teams. Specialized equipment, including satellite communication support systems and aerial magnetic detection devices, was also sent to the disaster area to support communications and search and rescue operations. The National Commission for Disaster Reduction and Ministry of Emergency Management activated a Level 2 national emergency response. Together with the National Food and Strategic Reserves Administration, they allocated 30,000 pieces of relief supplies, including tents, heating equipment, clothes, quilts, food and folding beds, and moisture-proof mats, to support the relocation and assistance of affected residents. CGTN. And then we also have From Decades to a Second, AI and Supercomputer Reshape Drug Discovery. A new AI-driven platform from Tsinghua University, paired with China's extra-scale supercomputer, Tankie, has slashed drug screening time from decades to under a second per target. The system, called Galaxy VS, hosts over 100 billion virtual molecules and millions of protein targets from humans and other species. It is open to researchers worldwide for free. The team treated protein structures as search terms and trained AI to match drug candidates in milliseconds, like a search engine for molecules. Traditional methods would take decades, if not centuries, to test one target against a 100 million molecule library, using a single CPU core, according to a 2020 Harvard Medical School estimate. The computational heavy lifting done by Tankie, China's next generational extra-scale supercomputer in Tianjin, in 1 second, it completes a calculation that would take all 8 billion people on Earth about 4 years to finish. But raw power wasn't enough. Engineers spent over 700 days translating the optimizing Tinghua's AI code into the Milky Way language, testing hundreds of thousands of lines, line by line. The result? We estimated a few minutes per target, said Dr. Li Peshun, the senior engineer at the center. But when we ran the full screening against 100 billion molecules, each target took less than 1 second. CGTN. There you go. Using AI in using an AI model, so I should say, that is specifically purpose built for something that type of language model should be built for. Imagine that. And we got DPRK news. The fourth and large meeting of the Political Bureau of the 9th Central Committee of the WPK was held. The Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea convened its fourth and large meeting on August 25th to take more political and practical measures for guarantee the successful implementation of the major policy tasks for 2026. The first year of implementing the new 5-year plan set forth by the historic 9th Congress of the party. Present there were members of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the WPK Central Committee and members and alternate members of the Political Bureau of the WPK Central Committee. Present as observers were vice premiers of the cabinet, major ministers and commanding officers of the Ministry of National Defense, and senior officials of relevant departments of the WPK Central Committee. Comrade Kim Jong-un guided the meeting. Pointing out a series of deviations revealed in the course of implementing the decisions of the Party Congress, Kim Jong-un said that they are the consequences of the immature operation and leadership of economic guidance organs, failing to keep abreast of our higher ideals and greater power of advance, and such shortcomings can well be overcome by and eliminated by the efforts redoubled with new determination and fighting will. Noting that the important duty to steer all sectors of socialist construction to fresh innovations and changes, and an eye-opening rate of growth, is placed on the shoulders of the leading cadres. He called upon all party organizations to more dynamically conduct organizational and political work, to give full play to the spiritual strength of the masses, in compliance with the invariable requirement of the Party Central Committee, for giving priority to ideological work in every undertaking. Saying that the ongoing advance requires extraordinary courage and strenuous efforts beyond precedents and limits. He noted that the goals of transformation set forth by the 9th Party Central Committee are not merely the numbers in business plans, but important political struggle tasks for protecting the great dignity of the country and providing the advantages of the social system. He stressed the need for officials responsible for the implementation of party decisions to successfully conclude this year's struggle without fail, and thus open up a broad avenue for attaining the new long-term goals. Always mindful that the current daily successes represent the ongoing accelerated advance and development and the just results in the promotion of the people's well-being. Pyongyang Times. And finally, Socialist Sports Report, or second finally. The National Open Paduk Tournament, or GO, was held. A National Open Paduk Go tournament was held and took place in the Fongsung Gymnasium from August 18th to the 25th. The tournament brought together more than 500 players, selected from provinces. They completed in individual, doubles, and team games, divided into children's, juniors, amateurs, and open categories. Pyongyang municipality came first in the total standings. Cups, medals, and diplomas were awarded to successful organizations and players. KCNA. Let's go. A Go tournament. Sports for the brain. And actually, lastly, we've got the Daily Comrade quote. Today it's from Lenin. Briefly, the dictatorship of the proletariat is the rule, unrestricted by law and based on force, of the proletariat over the bourgeoisie. A rule enjoying the sympathy and support of the laboring and exploited masses. V.I. Lenin. And that is your Tankie Times for today. Click the link here to go to the back issues or simply go to tankie.net/times. And if you like what I do here, you appreciate me bringing you the news and creating this newsletter, please consider supporting the Leaping Larry stream, the Leaping Larry channel, the Juche Gang channel. Dropping some subs, dropping some bits, dropping gift subs. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also become a member and get access to early Juche Gang videos. Thank you so much, comrades. Appreciate your support.